Tell me about, a guy gets knocked out so severely like Manny. Are you concerned about him moving forward? How does he recover from that? And how do you know that he can recover from it?
Well, everyone acts differently to get knocked out in life, in boxing, but Manny's a realist. Manny's one of those guys. He says, if you don't think you can get knocked out in this sport, you pick the wrong sport. He knows it can happen. It happened to him twice before I met Manny Pacquiao. He showed me those tapes. He wasn't embarrassed. He wasn't awed by it. The thing is, he knows that's part of life in boxing, and he accepts it. And that's why he deals with it so well, and it doesn't bother him to say he get knocked out in his last fight or to watch it. He's a realist.
Freddie, how are you going to balance training, self-streaming, and Manny Pacquiao?
Well, Zal's going to work alongside Manny, and I think a lot of Manny will rub off on him. He'll learn why Manny's the best guy out there, and the way he trains and the training ethics and so forth. And we'll have a lot of Philippine fighters in his weight class for sparring. So it should be a great experience for Zal.
Are you going to train Manny first and Zal second, or Zal first or Manny second?
Manny's always first.
And then second is Zal streaming, right?
Yes.
Freddie, you talked about the knockout. Coming from your history in the ring, in your career, considering what happens afterwards, if he loses, would you have a talk to him about seriously retiring?
For sure. The thing is, I'll even go as far as saying if I see flaws in training camp, I'll tell Manny it's over. The thing is, but until we get there, we don't know. We really don't know. We can't really guess. But the thing is, if he doesn't respond in training camp, my number one priority is to take care of my fighter, no matter what. So that means in the gym or the fight. So if something happens in either place, it will be addressed right away.
Has any of that conversation taken place since the Marquez fight, or no?
We had discussion, and we do have an agreement that when I see him slipping, and I tell him that he will retire, and we do have an agreement. Yes, we have spoke about it. Yes.
Why did what happened against Marquez not qualify as slipping?
If you watch that fight carefully from the overhead, when Manny stepped on his foot, Marquez pulled back, and Manny fell into the shot, and Marquez knew which punch to throw to the right hand right at the right time. And, Manny really caused the knockout because he fell into the shot when he stepped on his foot. So the thing, it was a perfectly timed shot, and these things do happen in boxing. People get knocked out in boxing all the time. Some people recover well from it, some don't.
How are you going to approach this training camp? Are you going to take it easy on him? Or?
Easy? There's no such thing as fun.
But given his age, he is older.
He's 33, 34. No, the only thing different about this training camp is I decided, when I talked to Manny about it, I think an 8-week training camp for Manny is a little bit too long because he gets in shape very fast, and I don't want to burn him out. So we're having a 6-week training camp. In the 6 weeks, he'll peak in that time, and the last 5 days we'll send him to Cal and just maintain him at that point. So for Manny Pacquiao, I like a 6-week training camp. It's more suited for him. We won't box our normal. Normally we go about 150 rounds average-wise. I think I'm going to cut that back a little bit because he is older and so forth, and he's experienced. He doesn't need those gym wars. I think we'll end up about 100 to 110.
You have to take a different approach, given that it's a daytime fight as opposed to like a nighttime fight.
Yeah, the thing is, we're gonna wake up, and I'm talking to Manny about that already today, about training at the time we're gonna fight. That's what we're gonna train at the time we're gonna fight, and then we're gonna do road work probably a little bit later in the day because the thing is, I want to get used to activity happening at fight time.
Freddie, when we've seen guys get knocked out like Roy Jones, when he fought Glenn Johnson, he showed him no respect, kind of got on him right away. Do you expect that from Rios to kind of try to test Manny right from the get-go, not show him any respect?
I would, yes. I do expect that, yes.
Do you think that'll benefit you guys the way Manny always fought? Nothing's changed?
I do think that'll benefit us also, yes.
Freddie, is Cordova training out the wildcard gym?
Yes.
What has he shown you during training camp so far? What Cotto has shown you?
He's doing very well. I mean, I'm very happy. We had over 50 days. He's doing great.
Can you?
After Cotto fights, you're gonna go straight to the Philippines, correct?
He fights on the 5th. I'm back here on the 6th. My plane takes off on the 7th.
Okay.
Can you elaborate on what you see in Rios that makes you believe this is the fight you'll win?
Well, you know, Rios' game, he throws punches from odd angles, he swings a lot, he likes to trade, he likes to exchange. I think Manny Pacquiao's straight, sharp punches are going to be too fast for him and too much for him to handle. And remember, Rios is moving up from like 35 to 47. He's fought 2 fights at 40, but Alvarado's not a big puncher, those 2 fights. So, you know, he's got a good chin at 35 and 40, but at 47, I'm wondering how well he'll take a punch at that, you know, from Manny Pacquiao. I think Manny's going to be devastating with his power and speed.
And what about Rios' power also moving up to 47 for the first time, especially because he's been fighting as high?
Most guys, when they gain weight, don't bring power with them. It goes the other way. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, of course, but they could carry the power up, so that remains to be seen. But the thing is, you know, I'm sure he watched us in the last fight when Manny got knocked down earlier in the fight. That's the shot that I'm more concerned with than the knockout punch, because that was a bad mistake. And some Rios can take advantage of if Manny moving back in a straight line and walking into that big overhand shot. So that's something we can't do for sure. And that's why we have to use a lot of angles with this guy.
How much of this is going to put an emphasis on rebuilding Manny's confidence psychologically coming off the loss? Do you feel he's already there?
He's already there. He's not. I mean, you know, like I said, he knows he got knocked out. He knows it can happen in sport. He knows that his whole life that this is the sport he chose. You know, the thing is, we know that getting knocked out is part of life. He accepts it well. I don't think it's going to have. I'm not going to have to motivate Manny Pacquiao at all.
So is it bothering you guys that so many people bring out the knockout and make more of it? Do you think we're making too much of the knockout and it just, like you said, it's just one punch?
Well, you know, it was a great knockout, and you know, it's the 3rd time he's been out, and you know. It is part of the sport, but the thing is we have to address it because it was a devastating knockout, and that's why when he wanted to come back in April, I said no. I said, let's wait a little while. I want to make sure he had a long rest and make sure everything's okay. You know, with all the concussions going on in boxing, football, and hockey, and so forth. So you know, you have to be a little careful and just looking out for your fighter and not letting him get back in there too soon.
Given everything Rios walked through against Alvarado the last 2 fights, what type of pressure do you think Manny's going to be able to bring to knock him out?
Well, I think that the speed and the speed and the combinations are going to be too much for him. I feel that he's going to have a lot of trouble blocking those shots. He's not the fastest guy in the world, and his shots come from way outside. He swings a lot. You know, he just swings at shots and his chin's up in the air. And you swing him in the back, you're going to get caught.
So you think it's going to be more Manny being the smarter fighter in the ring to be able to do that?
Yes, of course.
Freddie, how much of an influence did you have in, you had a choice, you guys had a choice between a rematch with Bradley, Marquez fight?
No, we didn't have a choice. He turned us down completely.
All right.
We wanted that fight. He wouldn't give it to us.
All right. So talk about why Brandon and...
Well, he comes to fight. He wants to exchange. I think it's a fight that he'll make us look great in, and you know, I think he's the perfect style for Manny Pacquiao.
How would he's been training at Wild Card for the last 6-7 years. How is it going to make a difference training? Well, yeah.
You know, I really like the new atmosphere, and it would be crazy to train in America with the jet lag and so forth. So, you know, General Santos is like, there's not a lot to do there. The training camp's going to be really, really boring, but that's why it's a training camp. I mean, we're focusing on the fight. We're not there for vacation or to fuck around. We're here to work, you know. So, and we get isolated hotel that Manny built, and isolated gym that he just built, and the facility is really nice. It's going to be, you know, getting him ready for the fight. I'm going to have a lot of fun doing it because that's what I love best.
Freddie, there was an incident a couple of years ago where Brandon mocked you.
Yes.
Where does that stand in regards to? Has there been forgiveness? Has there been a healing of that from that incident?
You know, I feel embarrassed for the people, other people who Parkinson's. For me, I don't care. You know, the thing is, you know, he's a funny kid. He jokes around a lot and stuff like this. I mean, he jokes around with me in China. You know, he called me Kentucky Freddie Chicken because he says I look like my white beard and white hair looks like the Colonel. So he's a pretty funny guy. You know, so you know, I'm not gonna. I don't take things personally. You know, I was mad for a moment, but I mean, I forgive it. Yeah, it's not a big deal to me at all.